known as the Keystone State. It's where the independence was signed all those years ago. You should find out the
DJI
from here very shortly. So please.
Osmo Mobile
Thanks very much indeed.
unboxing.
Just worth bearing in mind what we've been hearing, that the House Speaker, Paul Ryan, has made a call to Donald Trump a few minutes ago. The two had a very good conversation, according to the spokesman. The Speaker, Ryan, congratulated Trump on his big night, and he also spoke with his good friend, the Governor Mike Pence, who looks like heading towards the Vice President's residence in Washington, D.C., if things carry on moving the way they are. Let's bring in Todd Donovan, who's been analysing all the stats. They've come in all the evening. And I'm also joined by Peter Feinhardt, who's contributing editor of the magazine, and Republican strategist John Burnett. And, well, it looks like a Donald Trump victory. I see you've been busy on your phone, John. What are they saying around the Republican stratosphere?
I think they're high in the sky right now.
With disbelief?
Well, the thing is that there was always, the polls kept it relatively close or within the margin of error, but then there was always that what-if factor. Those individuals that are not counted in the polls, those individuals that don't have a home phone or don't have a registered cell phone, but are committed to go to the polls to vote for Donald Trump.
But I assume that an awful lot of people who probably don't normally register for elections got persuaded out this time round.
Absolutely. You know, I attended the first Republican debate last year, August, in the primary. And my cab driver, he began to talk to me. He said, all right, he asked me, where am I from? And I said, New York. And he said, yeah, I've always lived in Ohio. And he said, I've only voted once in my life. And that was because I lost a bet. So I asked him next in terms of, all right, so who you're voting for in the presidential race? He said, I don't think I'm going to vote again, but if I do, I like what Trump is saying. I asked him why. He said, you know what? I got to put food on my table. So that's what matters to me. And I think that same story, that same thought process is on people's minds in the rural areas as well as the inner cities.
There's no doubt that Trump changed the way elections are fought. But you've written in the past that you thought Hillary Clinton, simply being a woman, was a tough uphill slog to get through this anyway.
I think that's true. I think there's a lot of academic research that suggests that people treat women in power or seeking power differently than men, and are much more hostile to women's ambition than they are to men. But that's not the only reason that Donald Trump won. Donald Trump mobilized a series of anxieties and resentments that we've seen in England, in France, across the world. Never before in my adult life have I experienced something like this. I honestly have no idea what a Donald Trump presidency will mean. I've never felt as much like a stranger in my own country. I've never feared for this country as much.
Who will be the next president of the United States?
This is a man who twice was asked what the nuclear triad was and didn't know. He didn't know that we have nuclear weapons on air, land, and sea. He didn't know what Brexit was. Right? It's a man who called for banning Muslims from entering into the United States. A man who bragged about ordering the American military to torture, who cheered his, who told his supporters to be protesters. This is not Ronald Reagan or George W. Bush or Richard Nixon. We've never had a leader like this.
Donald Trump atau Hillary?
I have no idea what's with
Hillary.
But I've never been more frightened.
Kenapa milih Hillary?
Did he win it, or did Hillary Clinton lose it? Did he overperform? Did he underperform? How was it?
Donald Trump, he probably averaged maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep per night.
Lihat di mana?
Even in the last 2 weeks, he hit 5, 6 different So he left it on the court, so to speak, on the field. And he mastered the media. You know, he wrote The Art of the Leader. He might be working on the book Art of the Leader because he knew in order to give himself a fair chance to win, he needed media. Even if it was bad press, the media covered him. Now, on the other side, in terms of Hillary Clinton, she went approximately 270 days without a press conference. Arguably, looking back, right? Perhaps if she would have engaged the media during that entire time, she would have built up enough value and escrow so that way when anything that came out, and we know now a series of leaks through email that really tarnished her in her campaign and certain people within the DNC. So I think she during that time off for 270 days without embracing the press, and Donald Trump is constantly throughout the entire news cycle, I think that hurt her tremendously.
Peter, you may fear the Trump presidency, you may not like him, but he obviously found something. He found levers to pull and buttons to press that got to more Americans than she did.
There's no question about that. When we can analyze the political tactics that got him here, I agree with most of what you say. But it's important to remember this. The United States is not a democracy. It's a liberal democracy. We have a constitution and a bill of rights. The people rule within the parameters set by those things. We have a system of individual rights and minority rights and due process under law. Those things will now be tested by Donald Trump in a way we have never seen them tested in modern American history. I pray that they'll hold.
Made in China.
63% of people measured
Osmo Mobile.
they don't think Trump has the temperament to be president. 60% of respondents say they don't think he's qualified to be president. Majorities think Hillary Clinton has the temperament and the qualifications. But Trump's getting support from those people who don't think he's qualified and don't think he has the temperament to be president.
Because they believe Trump will execute. At the end of the day, the individuals in the Midwest, the South, they need jobs. Over the last 25 years, we've seen a lot of outsourcing. Outsourcing the companies are taking their manufacturing, taking their business to other countries. So that's one of the reasons why Trump's message resonates.
Yeah, probably that's why he's winning stronger support among voters without college education. But this is a big question for this election. Is it an affirmation of Trump's message, or is it just it's a protest? We're mad.
The problem with it, Kirby, there's clearly part of the economic populist message, the economic nationalist message. But the problem with seeing it flowing through that light, right, is that there are also a lot of African Americans and Latinos who get affected by jobs outsourcing as well. They didn't vote for Donald Trump, right? Overwhelmingly, they voted for Hillary Clinton. So there is a racial and there's a racial cultural element here, which has to do with making America great again. When in the 1980s, the 1950s, at a time when
live streaming,
at a time when there was less immigration,
pemilihan
at a time when there were more Muslims in the United States, all of that is very much at play, and for me at least, this speaks something very disturbing.
Is it a retro election then? Is he trying to take Americans back to an era that really can't be recaptured?
I don't see anything wrong with saying make America great again. There's nothing wrong with having pride in country. There's nothing wrong with these things. In fact, but the point is, there's a lot of people dancing in the streets based on the jobs report. When you look at the quality of jobs, it's a lot of part-time, low-wage jobs.
There's
nothing to dance here. And the economy is not where it needs to be. And honestly, let's not forget, if it wasn't
Silica gel, bukan sabu-sabu.
Bernie Sanders might be at the top of the table. So when you look on both sides of the aisle, this was a protest election. People are frustrated hearing all these flowery type of messages. Oh, good job report, the economy's doing well. But when people look at the lack of dollars and cents and wherewithal within their bank accounts and their pockets and purses, That made a difference in this election.
Let's pick up on that theme in a minute. Let's just head back to the results centre and pick up the story with Ed Conway with details of how things look, particularly on the lower part of the ballot. Explain that.
Yeah, and let me show you why it looks so difficult for Hillary Clinton at this stage. Let's take all of the states that have been declared by some of the networks. Not necessarily us, we're kind of waiting to be absolutely sure about this. But Alaska, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, let's paint them in... Sorry, I've got Clinton on there. Let me go back to where we are live, please. Let's paint those into red so it looks like Donald Trump is going to win in there. The note's going to be, I've just made New York Republican. Clearly it's not. Pennsylvania is looking very good for Donald Trump. In fact, it's been declared by one of the networks. And if that is the case, then he is comfortably over the line. It is 270 electoral college votes for either of the candidates to win, and it looks particularly promising for Donald Trump. I wanted to give you just one very quick statistic that tells you a pretty kind of surprising statistic about the way that people were voting. There was this expectation that Hispanic voters were going to particularly move away from the Republicans this time around. You can see that this is across the US. Hispanic voters 65% voting for Hillary Clinton, 29% for Donald Trump. Now that doesn't sound like much, but consider this. Last time around, 2012, for Mitt Romney, it was 27%. In other words, a greater share of the Hispanic population, despite all the concerns about the war with Mexico, despite those accusations of certain people coming up from Mexico being rapists, being criminals, despite all of that, more Hispanic voters voted for Donald Trump this time around. A big shift, and an unexpected shift from what we saw last time around. And also up here as well, 88% of black voters voted for Hillary Clinton, but that is smaller than the proportion last time around for Barack Obama. And as we perhaps might expect, 58%
dari kotaknya cuma ada kabel charger tok.
These are some of the dynamics that we're going to be chewing through over the next few weeks and months as we try to understand why this happened and how the pollsters got it quite so wrong, and what kind of a world and what kind of a social environment the US is going to have to deal with in the future after this election.
Ed, thank you very much indeed. The latest I'm hearing from the Hillary camp is that campaign chief John Podesta has just left the team hotel, the Peninsula, about 10 or 15 minutes ago, and didn't comment on the results. He said he was heading over to the Javits Center where the Clinton rally is meant to be taking place. He said, when he was asked if Hillary Clinton was going over there, he said, no, I'm just heading over there myself, and didn't respond to any other question. We shall find out more in a moment as we come up to the top of the hour. You're watching Sky News. It is 7 o'clock in the morning in the UK, 2 a.m. in the morning here in New York, and after a run of dramatic results, Donald Trump is on the brink of a remarkable victory in the race to become president. Several key states delicately balanced. Two of those could take Donald Trump over the winning line. It could help Hillary Clinton to defend the tide even. Sky correspondent Greg Mann with the Clinton camp and with Thomas Peters with the team Trump there in two centres just across the city. Anna, bring us up to date with how things are looking there.
The crowd's now chanting "Lock her up," which was something we hadn't heard all evening actually. It was a very well-behaved, very joyful crowd, but certainly we hadn't heard that "Lock her up" chant that we've heard at so many rallies, of course, in reference to Hillary Clinton. Lots of Trump supporters believe that she's a criminal and should have been indicted after investigation by the FBI. But certainly this crowd, as well as returning to that familiar refrain, believe that their candidate is going to be the next president of the United States, and they are expecting him to arrive and make a victory speech. Campaign chair for Donald Trump, Kellyanne Conway, has just sent out a tweet saying things that were true, the undercover Trump vote, and then also that Mike Pence, Vice President, Hillary's floor and ceiling of support being the same, and rally crowds, all of those things matter. And the final point she makes, things that were true, we expanded the map. And if you just explore that idea as we have been all evening and all morning, in Donald Trump's suitable white working class voters of America, he went all over the country, not just in swing states, but on Hillary Clinton's term, into Pennsylvania to her Great Blue Wall, and it appears that his message resonated with large numbers of people who felt that they were forgotten by the Washington elite and who were desperate for change almost at any cost.
Thanks very much indeed, Hannah. Let's head over to the somewhat more somber and sober Hillary Clinton gathering, and Greg is there. Greg.
Yeah, we've just had John Podesta, the campaign chair, announced, so let's see what he's got to say about what's been happening across America tonight.
Thank you. Well, folks, I know you've been here a long time, and it's been a long night, and it's been a long campaign. But I could say we can wait a little longer, can't we? They're still counting votes, and every vote should count. Several states are too close to call, so we're not going to have anything more to say tonight. So listen to me. Everybody should head home. You should get some sleep. We'll have more to say tomorrow. I want you to know, I want every person in this hall to know, and I want every person across the country who supported Hillary to know, that your voices and your enthusiasm means so much to her and to Tim and to all of us. We are so proud of you. And we are so proud of her. She's done an amazing job, and she is not done yet. So thank you for being with her. She has always been with you. I have to say this tonight. Good night. We will be back. We'll have more to say. Let's get those votes counted, and let's bring this home. Thank you so much for all of you have done. You are in all of our hearts. Thank you.
John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chief, with the words "she's not done yet." Greg Marlin watching all that. Are the crowd in the rally suitably reassured?
I don't think so. I think they'll take anything tonight because it's been such a miserable night for them, and they've started to head out. I think there was some fear amongst the crowd here that John Podesta would come to concede on Hillary Clinton's behalf. That would have been another, of course, extraordinary development on an extraordinary night for a candidate not to turn up themselves to concede. But John Podesta and the Clinton campaign clearly believe there is something still to cling on to. Although, of course, we know that at least one news organisation here has called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump, which would appear to be a decisive factor. But they're not ready to concede, and it's at 2 a.m. local time here. They've decided that everyone should go home, get some sleep if they can, and come back tomorrow. But it appears to be a pretty forlorn hope. They've been trying in the last 10 minutes to rally the crowd with hits such as "Don't Stop Believing." It's pretty half-hearted. They've tried to get some momentum going, but a sense of shock here, a sense of disbelief that the thing they were led to believe was almost an inevitability earlier today has turned into a very different eventuality, and they are now heading home as they've been instructed by the campaign. How many come back tomorrow when we know a bit more about those numbers and maybe the writing is firmly on the wall? We will have to wait to see. But it's been a miserable night for them here, and not at all what anyone expected.
Well, we can see the crowd streaming away from that Hillary Clinton rally at the Javits Center. Thanks to Greg there. Let's pop over to the Trump rally and pick up the story of Hannah Thomas Peter. Hillary's not done yet, says Podesta. What do they make of it there?
Unsurprisingly, they were loud boos, but now it feels frankly like balloons are being sucked out of the sails of the crowd here, because they might, well, according to Hillary Clinton's campaign, they won't get a concession speech. Now, what that means for Donald Trump and his campaign is frankly anybody's guess. Trump is still perfectly capable of walking on stage, but with the race not called yet, goodness knows what he would say. Now, the president is in a very strange situation of watching Fox News and trying to work out what it is that's going to happen in the next couple of hours, whether they too should go home and get some sleep before coming back tomorrow and starting all over again.
It's an extraordinary state of affairs, really, isn't it, Hannah, that one side won't concede, the other side thinks it's pretty much over the line, and there are these handful of states that are going to determine it, and nobody knows how long it's going to take to complete the count.
Absolutely extraordinary. Michigan, Arizona, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, this sticking point state, all of them offering enough votes for Donald Trump to take it over the line. He also holds all of the states that Mitt Romney won in 2012. But without one of those states being called, Donald Trump can't conceivably claim victory. And Hillary Clinton and her camp know this, which is why John Justice said, just went on stage and said, we're not done yet, go home, get some sleep, votes are still being counted. It's tremendously frustrating on the face of it for the Trump campaign. You thought they were there, certainly this crowd. But it's not over until it's over.
Hannah, thanks very much indeed. Let's hop back to Washington, D.C. Adam Bolton is there. Adam, what do you make of this? No concession, and yet it looks like all is almost lost. Mrs. Clinton?
Masih Richard.
Well, I think, Jeremy, what this probably does
Nunggu penuh. Atin dulu ya.
is reflect the animosity